At this time, it is my distinct privilege to introduce one of Elgin's very own. Please welcome the newest member of the National Athletic Trainers Association Hall of Fame, Mr. Kent Fobb.
Thank you very much, Alan. Well, this is the weekend that you've all been waiting for. And I think if you look at a road map, you will see that all roads lead to Elgin, Iowa. I guess the best way to say it is, we're welcomed home and we're glad to be here. I think the month was March, and Arden Greeter called me and he said, we'd like to have you participate in our celebration. And needless to say, I was quite overwhelmed, and he told me then I had to do this thing this evening. So what I did is I went to a couple different textbooks, and I tried to find several words that would describe Elgin, Iowa. And when you look in the dictionary, there's a lot of good words that'll describe this community. But when it comes down to it, there's only one real word that describes Elgin, Iowa, and that is, it's home. Now, to some of you, that means one thing, and to some of you over here, it may mean something else. It doesn't mean that it's right or wrong or it's greater in importance, but you can always look at this, no matter how long you lived here, one day or a lifetime, this is home. We drove in today from the west. I couldn't help but stop at the canning factory, and that husk pile still had the same smell. And I walked in the boiler room, and there was Nels Olson stoking the boiler. We didn't have a lot of time, but we went up to the second floor real quickly, and there was Ed Boland mixing that corn you just don't forget the smell of. Then we walked down a little bit, came down the alley, and we stopped at Doc Ryder's. And I wanted to go in one more time and look at that display that Doc Ryder had, because only one person in the world had a display like Doc Ryder. Now, I've always been told that you'll always be a student, and I guess I'll always be a student. So I had to stop to see Catherine Grove and Gladys Shorey, because they are still working on my English. And of course, they found out I was doing this tonight, so they had to make a few corrections to my script. I looked at my watch, and it was about lunchtime. I heard that famous Elgin whistle. Who could forget that Elgin whistle? So I stopped into the coffee cup, and there was Cliff Crisp behind the counter, and Arlie back in the kitchen. And the famous question was, roast beef or roast pork? Either way you had it, it was one of the best meals in the world, and it was always served in those plates that were sectioned off, so you didn't seem to mix things up. Well, dinner was over, we came out, and there was a sound that nobody could forget. And that was Jess Moody, with red-hot steel and hammer in hand, making some creation that only he could make. But then also you step aside, and how could you forget that fresh-cut wood smell as it emanated from Phil Mosier's wagon shop. Then it came down a little bit further, and I stopped in front of Fobb's Market. Remember the lutefisk barrel that was there at Christmas time? Well, it was still there, and it still smelled the same. I looked at my watch, and I had time, so I ran down to Chuck O'Neill's and had a quick soda. And then, oh, that's right, I had an appointment with Doc Wolf. And I remember going up those creaky stairs, as all of you did, to Doc Wolf's. So I completed that. I walked up the street, I came into the park, and lo and behold, who's sitting on the front bench? Bill Miller and Walt Kohler. They were settling the world crises and the problems of Elgin. As I came down through the park, there was an aroma that you could never forget. And it emanated from right over here. It was Hannes Jach's caramel corn. Now, if you were like me, you couldn't eat the caramel corn when you were a kid because it was bad for your teeth. So I splurged tonight. I had some caramel corn. As I turned around, there was some strains of music that nobody could ever forget. There was Cliff, there was Gordon, there was Maddie, there was Ernie, and there was Max. How could you not recognize the little German band? It wasn't that long ago that I sat right over there on a Wednesday night, and I can still see Leo Grader standing approximately where I am conducting the Wednesday night band concerts. I guarantee you one thing else. When this is over, I'm going to go across the street and down that alley, and I'm going to go to Marge Winger's kitchen, and I'm going to have the best hamburger that was ever made in the whole world. You know as I do, things change. Regrettably, they change. The faces change, the buildings change, the smells that you remember about Elgin, Iowa, they've kind of drifted away. The sounds that you remember, somebody's turned the volume down. And the people of Elgin, all too many of them have gone on to a greater place. Every resident, I don't care if you're 90 or 9, you will have memories, as I do, of Elgin. The flood of '93, you all remember that. The challenges of time and the decisions of any man cannot or will not erase or lessen the memories that we will all have forever etched in our hearts and in our minds about this community. Yes, indeed, all roads do lead to Elgin, Iowa this weekend. I say to you, welcome. Welcome back to the greatest town in the world, Elgin, Iowa, my hometown. Thank you.
Kent, rumor has it that it's your birthday today. So, please everyone, how about a round of applause for Kent and his birthday? And as a token of our appreciation, we'd like to give you your own Valley Tigers Gridworks football made right here in Elgin out of a bowling pin. And also a nice homecoming t-shirt that you can wear proudly when the Lions are playing in the Super Bowl next year.
Thank you very much. It's hard to describe how much this honor meant to me. And I hope that all of you are looking forward to this weekend as much as I am. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. Thank you very much.
We've also found out by the grapevine that it is also Deb Kaler's birthday today. She has put in countless hours of committee work on this sesquicentennial celebration. So would everyone please also give Deb Kaler a round of applause.
Thank you, Becky, for your year as Miss Elgin. Now I would like to introduce our candidates. First of all, we have Carol Fassbender, and Carol will tell you a little bit about herself.
Hi, I live with my parents, Robert and Kathy Fassbender, south of Elgin. I'm 18 years old. I just graduated from Valley High School, and I was involved in track, cross country, peer helpers, the science fair club, orchestra, for the drama, and also band and chorus. And next year I will be attending Iowa State University and majoring in entomology.
And Amanda Lane.
Hi, my parents are Brian and Penny Lane. I'm 17, going to be a senior at Valley next year. I'm active in 4-H, the County Council Youth Committee, and I'm the president of my 4-H club. I'm active in our saddle club, and I was active in basketball, track, and volleyball. And I hope after I graduate to be an X-ray tech. I plan to go to Hawkeye Community College and go into Hawkeye Tech.
I would like to thank both of the girls for participating in our contest. We will be crowning Miss Elgin and an alternate, and our plan is to use both of the girls throughout the year in our promotions and things that we do in the community. Miss Elgin will be going on to the Miss Fayette County contest, which is held at the Fayette County Fair in July. So I guess it's time to open the envelope. Miss Elgin, 1999, is Carol Fassbender.
The soap was handmade, the water had to be boiled, the clothes soaked, scrubbed, wrung by hand, rinsed, hung out, and ironed. There were no dry cleaners in those days either. It's hard for us to believe, but some of the better dresses could not be washed. So after wearing, the surface dirt was brushed out, the outfit was floured, ironed, and put away for the next wearing. Our next model is bringing some interesting history about our ancestors. Rita Burke is modeling a mourning suit, and this is spelled M-O-U-R-N. If a wife lost her husband, she would go into a period of mourning for as much as 30 months. Rita wears such a suit from the Alice Boyer collection, which dates back to the 1860s to the 1870s. Her hat is of black velvet and is 150 years old. Deep mourning was the first 12 months after the death of a husband. Dresses were black crepe with no trim. After 12 months, the widow could start going out again socially, but she still wore black. After 18 months, she could add lace and beading and jewelry as long as it was black. What happened if a husband lost his wife? What was the period of mourning for him? 3 months. With Rita tonight are her two daughters. Anna is dressed in a black top that dates to the 1870s. Her dress is a more modern rendition, and little Maya is dressed in a cute little dress from the 1930s that Alice Boyer wore when she was that age.
Our next dress is not a stranger to this stage. It was worn for the Shimbo Valley Rampage performed by Lorraine Kruger, who models it for us again tonight. During the Rampage performance, Lorraine was supposed to be a member of the WCTU, and of course she was after someone with the rolling pins. Tonight her appearance is less hectic, I think. Her dress is a calico print with lace trim and a bonnet to match. It was made by her mother, Sophie Follett Green, for the celebration in Claremont, and then given to Lorraine. We remember Lorraine and her husband Kenton as being part of the Kruger Insurance business, and then earlier than that, they were in the Coffee Cup Cafe. Rosemary Lehman is our next model. She brings us a dress tonight from a very long way. Rosemary received this dress from her mother, Frances Crilly, who made the dress for a centennial celebration in Rosemary's hometown of Williams, Iowa in 1969. This reproduction dress will soon be a vintage dress that Rosemary can hand down to her daughters and her many granddaughters. They'll always cherish this dress.
You've all seen our next models before this evening because they were crowned the Senior Citizen Homecoming King and Queen. Gladys is wearing an authentic reproduction dress that she created using a popular pattern around 1850. The dress has deep pagoda sleeves with white ruching trimming the sleeves and separate white undersleeves. The undersleeves were worn for decoration and also worn for warmth. She has used trapunto embroidery and dozens of French knots to trim those undersleeves. Her hat is a soft two-layered drape that is trimmed with the same ruching as her sleeves. Harold is wearing a shirt with an attached collar. It has self-embroidery on the placket, and there are 84 little tucks on either side of that placket. His top hat completes the outfit. Gladys and Harold are still remembered by many for us for being owners of Halverson's store, which they've owned from 1946 to 1976 and purchased from Lena Baumgartner.
Our next dress was a very versatile pioneer dress. It's an authentic reproduction modeled by Darlene Johnson. This dress has no waistline. It ties in the back for special occasions. Could you guess what this special occasion would be? This adds a little extra material for mothers-to-be to allow for the weight gain without having to get them a brand new dress. All you had to do was allow for the extra length of your apron strings. These sleeves were very interesting too because they could be pushed up for working around the house and in the garden. But it also is dressy enough to add a brooch to the neckline to look good when company was coming. Notice Darlene's beautiful Kiss Me Quick little bonnet with the beautiful bow and back. This completes the outfit for the mothers-to-be. Our next few entries pack a lot of family and a lot of history in their story. We're going to start and end with the grandma. Then we're going to fit the kids and the grandkids in between and cover a lot of years in the process. Our first grandmother is Marianne Cher. Marianne wears a calico print pioneer style dress. When she married Jim in 1964, they farmed the Friedman farm east of Elgin. And this farm has been in the Jim and Richard Friedman's family since 1869. And this farm has also always been a dairy farm. Jim and Marianne have two children, Kevin and Heidi. Jim and Richard's dad can be remembered when Native Americans would come down the river and camp on the riverbanks of their Friedman farm.
Next, we work into the next generation of Friedmans that are currently living on the family farm. That would be Shelley Friedman and her children, and her first daughter was with Grandma Marianne. They're wearing calico pioneer dresses which Shelley and Grandma Marianne made. Shelley is married to Kevin, who continues the dairy tradition. Their children are Cassie, Isaac, Michael, and Janice, who are the 7th generation to live on that farm. Next, we move to Marianne's daughter, Heidi Friedman. Heidi and daughter Marcy are dressed in pioneer look-alike dresses of dark calico, and the boys are typical farm boys in their bib overalls. Heidi was born and raised on the Frieden Century Farm, and when she married John Amundsen in 1980, she just sort of moved from one historic farm to the other. That farm that she lives on now is located just east of here on the County Line Road. And like Elgin, that farm is celebrating its sesquicentennial this year also. John's ancestors homesteaded that land in 1849. John and Heidi's children, Frank, Marcy, and Clay, are the 6th generation to live on that farm. I'm sorry, Keith.
Last, but certainly not least, in this family circle, we are going to meet Marcy's other grandma, Lois Amundsen. Tonight, Lois is wearing a dress she fashioned for the Claremont celebration, which will be on July 24th, which she designed with a peplum and a pleat at the back of the skirt. This style was popular in the 1880s when the back fullness accommodated a bustle and the peplum accented the special bustle. Lois grew up south of Elgin in Delaria Township. She was the daughter of Alton and Eva Medberry, and she could trace the Medberry roots back to 1689 when the Medberries first came to Elgin from Wales. That's a long time ago.
Our next models are family fair, Don and Marilena Suter and their granddaughter Brittany. Marilena models a dress that is an authentic reproduction of an 1840 to 1850 style pioneer dress. Marilena was having sewing machine troubles when she started this dress, and she joked that she might have to make this by hand. And when she opened up the pattern, she found that the original was handmade.
This leg collapses, so hang on to this.
She's completed it in every detail. The bodice is completely lined, as was the original, and she's even sewn cording into the sleeves. The top is fastened with hooks and eyes, 1 per inch. Marilena wears a sunbonnet, which is called a Martha Washington bonnet. Husband Don is wearing a Dr. Walker dress shirt that would have a detachable collar. It was stylish during the 1860s. His arm garters are more than just decoration. In those days, men's shirt sleeves came in only one length. And if your sleeves were too long, you wore the garters to keep them out of the way. This was especially important for bartenders, gamblers, and gunslingers. With Don and Marilena tonight is granddaughter Brittany O'Brien, who's dressed in a dress from Alice Boyer. It's a handkerchief dress with rows of ruffles around the bottom and tied with a pink satin ribbon. It's from the early 1900s.
Don, don't leave the stage yet. You know, Don's a gentleman. He wouldn't walk out on us, would you, Don? You all notice that Don has a beard. So now is the time for all of you gentlemen who have beards to come on up. We're going to have this special beard contest with very, very good prizes. So anybody who has a beard, we'd like you to come up on the stage to join Don for the beard contest. I know we have a couple beards out there. Come on.
We want to give them a little more competition than just one.
Uh-oh, here comes a good-looking Francis Bedekofer. He's good competition for Don.
Good for Francis.
Uh-oh, we got Rick Whittle sneaking up here.
Oh, and here's Phil Kaler.
Oh, boy, we got some good ones.
Oh, and here comes Dave Crispin.
Uh-oh, and I see our special minister. He's coming up here. We have any more? Oh, good. Pete, good to see you.
Hello.
We have any more? Uh-oh.
Oh, here comes Lane Freed.
I see Rick Davis. Are you coming up for the beer contest, Rick? Come on, Rick. We need a good young kid up here.
No way.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, we have to have a judge for this, and the judges are going to be the audience. We'll stand behind our contestants, and when I raise my hand behind each one, your applause is going to be your vote. Now, we also have to be a vote counter, and where's Arden Greener? He will decide who gets the biggest applause. if you'd like to step forward just a little bit. Okay, how many votes do we have for Leigh? How many for Pete? How many for Dave? How many for Pastor Arlen? How about Francis? How about Phil? How about Rick? And how about Dawn?
No, the first was number 2, and second is Colonel Sanders. You have just a first prize? First prize, number 2.
He is our winner. Nobody loses in our beer contest, so we have a prize for everybody. We have to talk about corsets during our fashion show because they were a part of fashion history for decades and decades. When you wore a corset, you had to put your shoes on first because you couldn't bend over to tie your shoes after you had your corset on. But that was okay because it wasn't proper to bend at the waist in those days anyway. No proper lady went without her corset. If she did, she ran the risk of being called a loose woman, and that's where that term originated. Tonight, Libby Roethlisberger models our corset. Underneath, she has a chemise, and that kept your corset clean. This corset is from the late 1800s. It's made of heavy drill cloth. It's lined, then the stay holders are sewn on, and then it's fitted with 36 metal stays. The tighter you pulled, the smaller your waistline got, and a good corset could easily take 3 inches off your waist. If you weren't lucky enough to have a maid or a sister to pull your corset strings, you could always loop them around the bedpost and pull with your body weight. A small waistline was the goal of the 19th century. I don't think Libby needs a corset.
Our next models are a lovely family. They are Christy Crilly and her daughters, Kenzie, Jovi, and 2-month-old Samantha. Christy's dress is actually a slip, but pretty enough to wear as a dress. Between the rows of lace, there is a total of 25 tucks. This outfit belongs to Pat Smith. Little Kinsey, who is only about 2 months old, is wearing a baptismal dress that belongs to Donna Peterson. And Donna's mother wore this dress to be baptized with over 80 years ago. Jovi and Samantha are wearing little dresses of handkerchief fabric and lace. They come from the Alice Boyer collection, and they are probably both over 80 years old. Don't they look beautiful? Giuseppe Garibaldi was an Italian patriot who organized a group of volunteers that fought for the independence of Italy. He and his men distinguished themselves by wearing full-sleeve red shirts. Even though it was only in the mid-19th century, he was known and supported by many Americans of his time. So much so that he started a fashion that we now call the Garibaldi shirt. Our next model, Sarah Strong, chose the Garibaldi shirt as part of her homecoming outfit. Notice the drop shoulders, They gathered in full sleeves, and Sarah, the sewing lady she is, put all these details of the cut work in her sleeves, her belt that matches her skirt, and they are all edged in the same trim as her blouse. Her small hat was very stylish, and Sarah has carried out her color scheme with the floral accents on her hat. With the white belt, the well-dressed lady of the late 1850s used this dress for a sports outfit. She loved to play croquet and tennis in this dress. We don't know how she did it. Thank you, Sarah.
Our next dress is celebrating its silver anniversary this year. It was made 25 years ago for Elgin's Quasqua Centennial. It's modeled tonight for us by Donna Johnson. The fabric came from Halverson's store, and Selma Coles was there to help adapt the pattern and figure out how much fabric was needed, a job at which she was a master. The dress is a pre-Civil War style with its full skirt and hoop. Donna's hoop is about 3 feet in diameter. During the 1860s, women of fashion wore hoop skirts up to 10 feet in diameter. They could be a little dangerous. If you got too close to the hearth, they could catch on fire. And a buggy that used to accommodate 4 ladies could now only accommodate 2. Donna's outfit is completed with a pillbox style bonnet, which was stylish at that time, and an antique purse that has been recovered. We should hold a contest to see how many people know what this next outfit is. In the 1860s, the skirts began to get flatter in front and on the sides, but they still put as much fabric in them. And now they pulled the fabric to the back and piled it on the waistline, and this heavy lump of fabric had to be supported, so the bustle was born. And of course, we have to have a bustle in tonight's style show. This is an 1873 style from the Wisconsin Historical Society. It uses boning to create its fullness, but stiff ruffles, pads, steel springs, or wires were also used. The flexible boning is supposedly allows a woman to sit down. This was in 1873. By the end of that decade, the bustles had grown even bigger, and women could boast of being able to balance a dinner plate or a book on their backsides.
Our next dress is from the year 1881. By this time in history, doctors were warning women of the health hazards of those corsets that were too tight for them anyway. There was a movement in the United States and England to wear simpler, more comfortable clothing, and our next dress, modeled by Cheryl, is such a beautiful dress. This dress was very artistic in line. There was a certain amount of snob appeal in surrounding this fashion. This dress has a back fullness, but no bustle. Its princess seam line was not as restricted as other dresses. It was also called a wrapper. It could be used as a day dress and good enough to entertain very close friends at home. Look at Cheryl's hat. It's an example of the popular hats of the season. It has flowers, feathers, and even a little bird. You know, Cheryl put this whole fashion show together. So maybe if you all want to stand up and give her a big hand, this would be a good time to do so. Our next dress is over 100 years old. It is modeled tonight by its current owner, Pat Smith. It was originally owned by Jenny Smith, who was born in New York State in 1868. Jenny moved west with her family in 1881. History has it that Jenny made this dress when she was 20 years old. It is of lace fabric cut on the bias so that it has natural stretch. Jenny was a very unusual young lady, and she was an aunt to Noel Smith and the late Paul Smith. She never married, and at the age of 41, Jenny homesteaded a piece of land in Sherwood, North Dakota. Remember, a requirement for eventual ownership of homesteading was to live on the land for at least 1 year. Jenny lived all by herself in a one-room cabin which contained a cot, a small table, 2 chairs, a cook stove, and a pot-bellied stove for heat. She also had a treaded sewing machine and a small handgun to kill the rattlesnakes who often visited. Thanks.
Our next model is Marianne Cher. She made a trip to the attic of her farmhouse to find her authentic outfit. Although she isn't sure of its history, she thinks at one time it was a full dress and then remodeled to a skirt. This often happened with good dresses. They weren't worn as often, so they didn't wear out. They were remodeled to reflect changes of style and size. Hopefully you can see that the skirt has rows of cording at the bottom of the ruffle. And how about that apron? A lot of love went into the hand crocheting along the bottom. It undoubtedly was a Sunday best.
Some other authentic dresses from the Alice Boyle collection are modeled by Julie Oslin and her daughter Brandy. Julie modeled a dress made of Boyle type fabric. Notice that the stripes are woven into the fabric. The waist is gathered into a sewn-in waistband, and the lace that is on the tuck in the skirt is also carried through to the collar. It's fastened in the front by hooks and eyes and snaps. This dress dates back to the turn of the century. Daughter Brandy is all dressed up in a beautiful eyelet party dress from also the Alice Boyer collection. Note the eyelet lace trims both on the front and the back of her little bodice. This dress is believed to be dated before the 1920s. Little son Andrew, who smiles almost all the time, is dressed tonight in a little outfit that belongs to Pat Smith. They don't get any cuter, do they? Thank you.
Another bit of Elgin history that few can top comes from 1895. On December 18, 1895, Ella Newenswander and Albert Shorey were married. They would be the great-grandparents of our Honorable Mayor, Mike Shorey. 1 week later, on Christmas Day, Alice Klingman and Andrew Uris were married. Andrew farmed on Highway 56 with his father and later his son and then his grandson Glenn. Glenn's wife Claudine still farms that farm. 1 week later again, on New Year's Day, 1896, Lana Bigler and Herbie Robbins were married. They would be the grandparents of Sarah Strong, Marilena Suter, and Joe Ogle. All 3 of these couples remained friends all their lives, and amazingly, all 3 couples lived to celebrate their 65th wedding anniversaries. Before Lana Bigler married Herbie Robbins on January 1st, 1896, her mother told her she must learn to sew, and learn she did. Tonight we have the wedding dress that Lana Bigler sewed and wore over 103 years ago for her wedding. And who better to model it for us than Lindsay Geyer. Lindsay is Lana and Herbie's great-granddaughter. I hope you noticed the large leg of mutton sleeves that were stylish at that time, the smoothly fitted skirt that flares slightly at the hem, back fullness, made out of heavy satin. This is a precious keepsake. Courtship during the 1890s was much different than today. There were no cars, and suitors were lucky indeed to have a horse and buggy. The gentler the horse, the smoother the path to the altar. Old Dobbin knew enough to give up half the roadway while meeting another rig, and rarely needed coaching from the driver.
In the late 1890s, it was difficult, if not impossible, to get a winter coat over those large, puffy leg of mutton sleeves. So then capes became the stylish and the necessity. Tonight, Sarah Strong shares such a lovely cape with us that belongs to her great-grandmother and namesake, Sarah Ogle. It's a black satin with a short over the collar that is decorated with black fringe. It dips in back, which probably follows her dress line for that time period. I hope you can all see the jet black beading that adorns the cape, even around the arm slots. It's a beautiful piece of fabric.
During the Victorian era, the general trend was if a little is good, then a lot must be better. The leg of mutton sleeves grew to enormous sizes. They were stuffed with netting to help hold their shape. At one point, some women had to go through the door sideways because their puff sleeves were too wide to walk through straight. By 1897, the sleeve width had dropped to a small puff, as evidenced by our next model, Leanne Klein. This is a two-piece dress. The top fastens along the side and is referred to as a pigeon front, and this too is designed to make your waistline look tiny. The top then is attached to the skirt with hooks and eyes. The skirt has deep tucks in the back, but by this time in history, the bustle was dead. The hats that were popular during this time usually had a few or just a single feather protruding above the rest of the decoration.
This next group of models, you might say, are in a class all by themselves. They have a knack for sticking together. There are 5 of them. First is Marcia Wolf, daughter of Elgin's late doctor, Mrs. Rose Wolf. Second is Ruth Ann Van Bogart, daughter of Walter and the late Martha Mitz. Third is Nona Moore Sawyer, daughter of the late Kenneth and Georgia Moore. And fourth is Pat Capper, daughter of Norris and Florence Capper. And fifth is our very famous postmistress, Marlene Guido, daughter of the late Fritz and Lee Guido. I'm crucifying their names, I'm sorry, girls. This is part of the graduation class of, anybody know what year?
1956.
1956 from the Elgin High School. These closely knit friends get together almost every year. This year's homecoming is no exception, and we appreciate their spirit of dressing and fitting our theme. We hope you have a good time and walk slowly so we can see each of your outfits.
Celeste and Kira Strong join us next tonight. Celeste is attired in a dark print dress with a caplet over sleeve that creates fullness at the shoulder and narrow sleeves below. There is a peplum at the waist, which forms a crossover tie in the front. The smooth lines of the skirt flare at the hem. This is a style reminiscent of those worn around the turn of the century. Daughter Kira is in an authentic dress from the Alice Moyer collection. It is a delicate handkerchief dress with a lace edge and embroidered bib, the pattern carrying down into the skirt with deep scallops at the hem. This also dates to the early 1900s.
Mary Diamond is our next model. As you can see, she's wearing an elegant off-white dress from the turn of the century. Notice the top that is all lace trimmed with French embossed lace like the collar and the cuffs. The drop waist then flows into the handkerchief skirt. Her hat is equally as elegant. Remember, Mary wore this dress when she won the ladies driving horse competition at the Fayette County Fair a few years ago. This is lovely. Thank you.
Our next model wears an unusual outfit from about 1918. It's worn by Peggy Strong. The skirt is of black taffeta and it has 2 decorative panels on each side. The panels are trimmed with black buttons and fringe. The waistband contains boning, which keeps it stiff and probably keeps you straight. The top is a reproduction piece with black flocking that matches the skirt. Topping it off is a hat that is black velvet that matches the velvet in her top.
You met our next model earlier tonight as the librarian and the coordinator of the Swiss pageant, Bev Strong. Tonight, notice her lovely outfit that depicts the turn of the century with an A-line skirt in navy and floral design, and tan and lavender. It is complemented with a tan-colored blouse with back ties that form a peplum. You may not be able to see the delicate buttons on this dress, but they are floral design with gold filigree around the edges. Her outfit is completed with a beige-colored straw hat trimmed with this beautiful single flower. Adding the lavender chiffon wrap gives this outfit elegance and enables her to wear it wherever she would like to visit.
East Claremont Lutheran Church will celebrate its 150th anniversary in the year 2001. Members are planning an 18-month-long celebration beginning in July of 2000 and ending in December 2001. Our next model is a member of the East Claremont Lutheran Church and has her outfit all ready for the celebration. It's Harriet Blockers. She's wearing a long black brocade skirt which belonged to her late mother-in-law, Olga Gilbertson Blockers. Olga wore this skirt in previous church anniversary celebrations. The blouse is of white cotton trimmed with lace and is on loan from Alice Boyer's collection. Her hat is a 1930s era, and her purse, which is covered with silver beads, dates to the 1920s. Both are from Peggy Strong.
Our next model is Jeanette Strong. She is wearing a dressy two-piece wine-colored outfit with a very dainty print. It depicts the turn of the century style with its smooth lines flaring into this bordered skirt. By the end of the century, sleeves had a gentle puff that narrowed down as they reached the lace cuff. This lace jackets were also seen at this time. Topping off Jeanette's outfit is a simple black straw hat with a lovely little ribbon and her beaded purse with metal clasp and a handle. This outfit is also from the Peggy Strong collection.
Another vintage dress from the Alice Boyer collection is being modeled tonight by Pam Feaster. It dates back to the early 1900s. It's called a white lawn dress. Note the eyelet cap sleeves tucking along the bottom and border of eyelet and lace. It buttons up the side with 19 buttons. From the 1820s through the 1880s, white was reserved mostly for the wealthy because it was so impractical. But in 1894, the Ladies' Home Journal magazine stated that white gowns are usually counted on as expensive. They soil so easily. Yet with care, a white dress may be worn an entire season. Completing Pam's outfit is a parasol to keep the sun off, because tan skin was an absolute no-no.
Our next outfit arrived to Elgin in a very interesting way. It is modeled by Amy Lou Torkelson Olsen. When Amy and her husband Leo were living in the New York State, she attended a farm auction, and the auctioneer went through some of the ladies' personal things very quickly. Amy was able to buy this outfit for 25 cents. There is so much hand sewing on this two-piece dress. Note the cut work, the cording, and the embroidery. The style of the skirt indicates that it's in the early 1900s. It may be consoling to the memory of the original owner to know that Amy really appreciates the work that went into this outfit, and that it really has gone a long way from New York to Arizona and now to Elgin, Iowa. Thank you, Amy.
And talk about hand beading. I hope you can see the beading from the audience. This dress is modeled by Mary Strong. It is a black dress believed to date back to the teens, when beading and tube-style dresses were popular. There are hundreds of beads hand-sewn to the bottom edge of this dress, as well as on the sleeves. The outfit is also from Alice Boyer. Mary completes her outfit with a perky black hat with a little white trim on the inside of the brow.
In the 1890s, this was the well-dressed Victorian women always enjoyed going to the beach and going swimming, although she needed to be properly dressed. Tonight we have Holly Worcester wearing a swimsuit from the turn of the century. These suits often contain 6 or more yards of fabric. No wonder more of the ladies didn't drown in those days, huh? This way, dressed in the water. The dress had weight on its hem so that when you went into the water, it wouldn't float up to the top. There was even a special corset where the metal stays were guaranteed not to rust. The shoes and long stockings were a must. No proper lady would ever show a bare leg or even a foot in those days. It was fun, just the thought that men learned to swim easier than women. We never understood why. Watch for this special swimsuit when you go see our play, Meet Me in St. Louis. Thank you.
Our next dress dates back to 1913. It is modeled tonight by Amber Kaler. The original owner was Elma Mork Nelson, daughter of Canute and Betsy Mork. She was born in 1892, a few miles east of Elgin. Her parents had her take sewing lessons in Elgin as a young lady, and it was a good move on their part because she was the second eldest of 12 children and did much of the sewing and mending for her family. She sewed this dress for her wedding in 1913. Elma was my grandmother, but I can't fit into her dress. Amber is only 13 years old, so it tells you something about the size of adults 100 years ago.
Next is another outfit from the Alice Boyer collection, and this time we have someone very special wearing it, her sister Eva Reeder. This is a wedding dress also, and Eva is petite enough to wear this one. How much more feminine can you get? It is made of white eyelet. Notice the lovely satin hat that Eva's wearing. We can imagine what a beautiful wedding this must have been with this lovely outfit.
We turn to the military for our next selection. Erling Bilden wears a dress Navy uniform and hat from 1918. It was originally worn by my grandfather, J.B. Shipton, who served on a destroyer during World War I. The red band encircling the left arm denotes he was a fireman. Our next authentic dress dates back to the year 1925. It's modeled by Ava Swinger and originally belonged to her grandmother, Ida Larson. It's fashioned in black silk, pleated, and is accented with contrasting covered buttons. It was worn to the funeral of Ryer Larson, Avis's great-grandfather, in 1925 at the Highland Church. The china doll Avis carries is over 100 years old. It was given to Avis by her great-aunt. It was put on display in the window at Max Thomas' store during the homecomings of the 1940s, and it was advertised as a doll that was already 50 years old.
Julie McCready models our next dress. It's just a fun dress, as you could see, from the late 30s. It's a combination of linen and voile with the decorative stitching on both the linen and the voile. A short bob haircut, and this dress is straight up and down styling was very popular during the 20s and 30s. It created a boyish look for that new era. Thank you.
Our next group is a family affair again, and as you probably recognize Rita, we've gotten her out of her morning suit and into something cooler. She is wearing a crepe dress from the 1930s, and please note all the hand beading that is on the sleeves. Daughter Anna and daughter Maya are dressed in some of Alice Boyer's collections of lawn dresses for children from about the turn of the century.
Our next model is also from the 1930s, and it's a very elegant evening gown modeled by Connie Copenhagen. It's too from the Alice Boyer collection. Notice the sheer peak royal trim with the ruffle down the center front. It's very simple but very elegant. It's topped by this lovely shoulder cape. With Connie is her young son Ian. He is dressed in an outfit from the 1890s. At that time in history, they dressed boys in dresses until they were about 2 years old. Notice the little box pleats in the back and in the front, and the knickers underneath his outfit. This little outfit comes from the Pat Smith collection. Thanks, Shelley, we're going to end our style show tonight in a very grand fashion show. Shirley Keel from the Apple Valley Cafe really got into the spirit of homecoming by dressing all of her employees in look-alike pioneer dresses. A red and white gingham check with white aprons, blue parasols. There's a lot of material being cut into when these dresses were started. As I read your name, step forward, then we'll know who you are. Mary Beth, Julie Sir, Gail Parkerson, Elaine Phelps, Sarah Beta Coker, Billy Joe Farmer, and last but not least, our lovely Shirley Keel herself, as always. Shirley's always ready to serve us some good food, and all of her ladies always give us a nice smile. Thank you, girls.
This completes our fashion show for tonight. We hope you've enjoyed our walk through memory lane, and I hope that you will give a hand to the models, the ones that dug out their authentic outfits from their attics, the ones who sewed diligently to make us authentic reproductions. Let's give them all a big hand.
Success, not just this year, but every year. Thank you, Cheryl. Let me get it here. Just a minute. This is one of the etched Meet Me in St. Louis lanterns, which will be available tomorrow evening for sale at the dinner theater, and one of the commemorative glasses that is also etched because, let's see, what was the year that the Meet Me in St. Louis was the year that iced tea was invented. So just hang on a minute and we're going to have cake and everybody come on up and enjoy it. Thanks again.
Following the color guard is our Grand Marshal, head trainer of the Detroit Lions, Ken Faub.
This is hard to control.
And his wife and one of his daughters with him. We're glad to have him here today. Newest member of the National Association of Athletic Trainers Hall of Fame. Francis Bedecofer escorting him in that nice red Cadillac. Valley High Marching Band under the direction of Randy Johnson. And here comes Miss Elgin, Carol Fassbender, and Alderman on Van Lane. For all generations. Good shot. Also on this field is our senior citizen.
Yeah, wife's daughter. Wife and their one daughter.
Good job, gang.
Goes way too fast. It's hard to control this thing.
Big metal tractor up on top. That's a dandy. It's worth more than you paid for it, Tim. A lot. The float from the First Baptist Church borrowed a couple. First Baptist Church, Generation for Christ.
At 99 years old. Gary.
Don 66. It looks like maybe a tractor from Suter Implement pulling it, huh? Don 66 in Elgin, the full service station. Right behind that Elgin Highland Lutheran, there's probably Elgin Lutheran Church also. Oh, and this is Willie's bike. Those of us that are old enough remember when Willie used to ride that bike all over Elgin. This is Willie Bracken's bicycle. Mary Frances Bracken Pappas riding it today. Willie's bike.
Walt would have never gotten rid of his unicycle. Right about the time I figured out how to ride it. Wow. Run, Annie, run.
That's not Jake driving. The student class of 1939. Next entry is from Johnson Trucking, another local business. Looks like we've got the whole fleet here. Who's that in front? Boy, is that an improvement. Johnson Trucking, Elgin, Iowa. There's supposed to be some little boys picking those up, and I haven't seen either hair of them, so we're just going by ear. One, two, three, four, five, six. I can't see the end of them.
before they parade.
Hope you got some air left for the brakes now, boys.
What did he say?
Hope we have some air left for the brakes.
See, you guys thought this PA was
That used to be a hazard. I've heard stories of that. Hope he avoids the camera.
This morning is sponsored by the Elgin Historical Society, and this was the last wagon that was built in Elgin.
Yeah.
And there's Gerald on a 54 Super MT8. Boy, that was a great tractor in 1954. That's the year I graduated from high school. There were a lot of them around.
Sounds like Mayor Daley.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we got the Calliope music. Yeah, they're sponsored by Roger Oil Company and Katsuma Law Office. Picket Circus. There's a honest to goodness Calliope in there. I can see it through the window. I you can hear it. Oh, what monkeys we have. Okay, the show sponsored by the Race America. These guys are gonna run pretty soon. I don't know who's gonna push the wheelbarrow in the race, but they've got their work cut out for them. They're gonna run from Louisiana to Thunder Bay. Next one on my list is from the Elgin Public Library. They must have stopped pretty quick.
This is the last wagon built by
Don't took my camera. It's somebody's camera.
Oh, hey. Yeah.
What's that?
Want some cheese, please, for you?
What's that?
Well, I see his hand waving. There's a person inside that lion. We're going to see him walking around down in the park. Oh, he's not going to work? One battery. Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to see then. But that's the tallest lion in Fayette County. I guess we're name must be the battery master. Justin, thanks a lot. There's a lot of news to get something like that on a day like today. And of course, we all know what some of these guys in line for the country to do. Really spending these generations helping to recognize the business law. Progress in the business and never coming off for thanks to Lyle Lehman, state senator.
I'm gonna be in your way.
Lyle Lehman, thanks a Lyle. And this gets started up this is some fine flowers sponsored by Barker Shipping Mart, I believe. These guys have which one's calling the golf cart? Yeah.
Oh. It felt good.
Oh, thank you.
These guys have lots of fun. Lots of money. They have kids in their hospitals. Oops, hey, right up on you there, be careful. Thanks to Bustle for sponsoring the Harvey Style Showing Grounds. We also have Leonard Funeral Home and Fenwick Insurance, who have helped to sponsor these Northeast Style Showing Grounds. Roger Chippy Mart, Leonard Funeral Home, and Fenwick Insurance. Here's the best line of English, another one. just Elgin anymore, all over northeast Iowa. We got a map right there on the gas pump. Lansing, Northfield, I got a lot of kids that are being helped by trainers right now. Joey is. I had a kid in 5th grade band with an auto accident, her legs all mangled up. Trainer driver is around all the time. Here's a group that does all kinds of good. They don't seem to have very good clocks because they're out all hours of the day and night whenever you need them. Whoops. Elgin Volunteer Fire Department.
Ever seen a gas pump on a float before?
This is their newest fire truck right here too. Noisy. Yeah, that's our newest tanker truck. You see the fireman somewhere. These are entries from John Cobb Company in West Union. And one of these entries, and I'm not sure which one, where's Lexi? Is she one of these? Lexi's back on that pickup, I think. She was the 4th place in a state gymnastics out there, maybe a national one. Just yesterday, I think. Yeah, it's comment on it. Yeah. Okay, that's the answer. Lexi played was first with the state and 4th at the nationals in the gymnastics competition. Here's the Marianne Happy Hustlers, Carol Link.
Supposed to be some Boy Scouts up there collecting these, and they haven't.
Ron Baker's Barber Shop. Looks like a J.I. Case and Alice Chalmers. Little Farmall Cub. St. Paul's United Methodist Church. There's the guy that keeps it looking so nice around the outside, Jim Bidler at the tractor. Probably a tractor from Cedar Implement, maybe, huh? Oh, Bob Schaefer, okay, right. Robert Schaefer tractor, the Elgin Methodist Church. All right. That thing isn't in danger of taking off, is it?
There we go. All
Elgin, Lane, Barb, Doug, and Adam, and Christy. I don't know. Do we have seatbelts?
More cheese. Here's your cheese.
Ready for some lawn care.
Here's more cheese.
Grass is kind of short right there, Randy. Don't cut it any shorter. Okay, here's the main stage. The main stage for the second year. 3.4 acres, 1 mile east of Gilbertson Nature Center. Mounds by the Luther College math class and instructor Reggie Lawrenson. It will be open today until 8 o'clock and tomorrow.
Yeah, I got the maze up one already. But I was wondering how much fun it is to go through the maze when it's not even quite knee high by the 4th of July yet. You can see your way out of the maze from where you're at. Where it looks over your head, that one's really fun.
We want to thank them too for providing something for the announcer.
What on earth is this?
Oh, and then here's the next generation. Here's the next generation. Cindy boys.
Fort Santo Mraki. Yeah.
Okay, then shoot it up. Number 3, go ahead. A car said, that's got to be Jake Snyder. Sponsored by the Valley Co-op. Here's the Valley Cub Scouts, Pack 53. Pack 53. And I don't want you to miss Casey Friedman, Marcy Amundsen. They drilled for us the other night down on the park bandstand and did a really nice job. And they're right behind Jake Snyder there. Well, I don't know what you call that. That's a horseless carriage for sure because there's no horse. The Valley Cub Scouts, Pack 53. Now Troop 53, Boy Scouts too. There's one from Gilbertson Park. Gilbertson Park and Recreation. And there's plenty of recreation there. They got their fire ready to go and a marshmallow is ready to roast. They're in business.
The one that Arden's sitting on back there to announce the parade, he said it was 35.
Nice. There's my kind of bicycle. Fayette County Soil and Water Conservation District, working north from Sunset. Now that's a real camp of play. Olson Appliance Service in Elgin. We got the prison. We got a few people that like it.
They saved, also.
Thanks, Olson Appliance.
Yeah.
And Palmer Home Care Service.
Was it rain today then? Or?
No, later on.
I hope it holds off.
Yeah, right. Nursing, aids, home medical equipment, Ohio hospice, and community health. That good, healthy candy. Manoa Fire Department. Monona Fire Department. Nice fire equipment. Thanks for coming. Here's the Awanas. The Elgin Awana Group.
Hey!
Boy, it's a dentist nightmare today. How come they never throw Ethernet at the Czech Village parades?
I might kill somebody.
John and Alice Cher on the Awana float with
Somebody
grandchildren
on the head with
Ryan and
one
Jake
of these.
Harrington and Jeff Pleppies on there for Awana, of whose workmen are not ashamed. Here's Greg, Carol, Jared, and Kenneth Johnson. They're driving a 1934 WC Alice Chalmers and putting a 68 Chevy truck cover. Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer, ladies and gentlemen, are fishing. Yeah, that's right. That was pretty fast. Here's Rod's Plumbing and Heating. My goodness, you got a train. Rod's Plumbing and Heating.
Yeah, little Monona's here. Yeah. How about that?
Which one of those cars has got the bathroom in it, Rod? Well, we'd have to have one. There's Martin and Doug Friedman, we may not. Yeah, hey, there's an old hand pump forge too. That is from the past. That's several of them. Martin's River Road Repair. Southeast of Elgin, you got portable welding, machine work, general repair, and of course, they and Jim Treaty make for sure every spring. Northeast Iowa Realty, hey, that doesn't go out of the road. Northeast Iowa Realty, Leanne Klein. Technically, you're not old enough to drive at 63. Yeah, see, right? Here's a 52 pickup. Mike's Repair in Elgin, 52 Ford. And Dummermouth Trucking. $65 Plymouth. Dummermouth Trucking has been in business 7 years.
That'd be a Fury convertible?
Short haul livestock.
It's a 65 convertible. That'd be a Fury convertible then? Must, I would assume, I don't know.
Here's the Westgate Fire Department. Westgate Fire Department in their parade truck. Dandy. Number 68, that's a 1931 Chevy. Fire protection's come a long way since we're glad, but that's a dandy. Downtown Hair Design.
Isn't that Bonte? Corvette.
Downtown Hair Design.
That's a satellite convertible. That's a little weird.
Looks to me like that's probably the red side and not the green side. Don and Tim's Mechanical Music. A nice calliope. And there's a band organ on the back. Chapman Electric, Elgin, Iowa. 10 years. Nice, 1966 T-Bird. Chapman Electric, Elgin, Iowa. Looks like Dad lost the argument. He wanted to drive the truck while Mother drives the car. That's not fair. Give us a call and let us mend your shorts. Okay? Sounds like a good idea. Chapman Electric, Elgin, Iowa. It says golf at Pleasant Valley Sports Club. Looks like
Jared Mills Hills has got a red name.
Well,
Yeah, 49.
Oh, yeah, that's a guy over there. One of each, all right. Well, that's good. Golf at the Pleasant Valley Golf Club. There's got a golf in the back, too. Good friends, stop by and try one of our many micro food beers, it says. Pleasant Valley Pub. Here's the Elkader Fire Department. Elkader, Iowa Fire Department. Thanks for coming, guys. Thank you. F&F Hardware, Elgin. We're the Valley Foundation for Lifelong
That's what I was telling Mom
Learning.
too. Where did they come from?
Bill Cater's driving this car that's going to be raffled off soon. I think tickets will be available. Is that right, Bill? You have a chance to win that classic back window. It just came out of the showroom. And it will be raffled off by the Valley Foundation. Proceeds going to their fine organization. Here's the Valley Vet Clinic. We've got a dog sticking out the front of the tail. Doc, you got an air conditioner for him? Yes. Okay. Valley Vet Clinic. Make tracks with the Valley Vet Clinic, and there's the dogs. That's Clifford. Here's Claremont Implement. Claremont Implement. There's a Gator and a John Deere golf cart. How about that?
Yeah.
Claremont Implement. Thank you. That's more coming from
AM Rambler. Well, yeah. It's like 62, I'm not sure. What year is it, Jerry? The AM Rambler. I was guessing 62. Probably what's her face that had the puppy? It's not a puppy anymore.
No, on the other side.
There is, I saw it. No, it's a little, what you call it? No, it looked like one.
I think these guys must have lost a golf ball somewhere there.
Tell Annie. She's a dog show in Cedar Rapids. They have 111 inches.
I'm supposed to be there, but
Well,
I'm
you
not.
were. You gonna make it?
No.
Looks like we got big fingers and pivots coming. The parade's getting a little bit packed up on this back street, so we're going to let a few across at the intersection up here. So there might be a little bit of a pause. Well, there's something wrong with me. Let me cover that. So Shandy and Bundle, here's the Claremont variety.
Oh, God. Look, you're driving a pink Cadillac if you're in Mary Kay.
Fayette County Bowhunters Association.
Big Dippy.
Fayette County Bowhunters. Look at this one in there. She's ready to go too. Sponsored by the Pleasant Valley Golf Club, the Fayette County Bowhunters Club. Here's the Foster Oil Company.
Why don't they have the street tearing up demonstration as part of their floor? Make a hole right
St. Peter's Catholic Church in Claremont.
This takes you around to the Valley School and eventually to Claremont.
Mary Dinah, and probably a grandson, huh? Yeah. Who's having most fun? Sure he is. Whenever you're with Grandma, it's fun.
Yeah, could be fun.
Here's 45 years of service at Palmer Lutheran. And Palmer Lutheran is celebrating its 50th anniversary. Rose, thanks for coming.
Nope.
Here's Von Kettleson from KOEL.
I'm surprised they didn't have what's her name on protest? What's her name? I can't think of it. Audrey Ron, yeah.
I saw him earlier in the parade. He was in the color guard, I believe. Here's the Fayette County Dairy Princess, Jessica Lansing, Little Miss Squirt, Jackie Adams, the alternate Dairy Princess, Emily Wolfram, and the alternate Little Miss Squirt, Cassie Cannon. The Fayette County Dairy Royalty, I think we should say. Fayette County Dairy Group. As well. Okay, I think it's Malibu. Nice, super short. Three vehicles from Bowsell. All look like they just came out of the showroom, don't they? There's a 99 Chevrolet Silverado from John Pop Company in West Houston. Star Ruby. Since 1920. Star Ruby, West Houston. With the Ivy Cottage in Elgin.
Front door's open too if you want. It's easier to get in there that way.
Kenny Hansen with the Village Ford. Very damn tough, but that's what was Kenny. Is that older than you are? Yeah. Miller Gunderson punish, it says. We're all set. Oh, we got one on the operating table there. Miller Gunderson, Luther. Thanks for coming, folks. Okay, now this says John Carter, who's on your club, but we know that isn't John Carter down there, that's our Don Center. Could be wondering into that time. We got a local Colonel Sanders. That cold looking tractor, Donnie's here. Now here it says 7 generations of Harriet County farmers. From Howard Farms to the county of Harriet County since 1853. He's got his son Seth with him and his nephew Duncan. So maybe it'll be 8 generations, but that's from Howard Farms. Through the years, FFA through the years. The tractor driven by Jared Seabright, provided by Mark Nelson. Got some FFA officers riding on this road.
The 1-2. That's the Howard.
Big.
With a 1935 Ford dump truck and a farmhouse that was run by his great-grandfather. Scott Rose with me. That's the first time out after restoration, and it looks like it just came out of the showroom. There's the Arlington Fire Department. Thanks for coming, folks. 29, is that the year? 75 years of service from the Arlington Fire Department. Here's the LEDs of Monona. Well, there's some good stuff on that one.
There's a zippy for you.
48 Dodge Business Coupe. Business Coupe owned and driven by Kim Meyer. Well, there's another one that looks just like the day it came out of the showroom. Business Coupe, 48 Dodge. And the Wadena Elyria Fire Department. Thanks for coming, guys. Another one of these groups that does so much for all of our local communities. They help one another out, and they sure help everybody out in the community. Thanks for coming, guys. Farm Sales and Leasing. Farm Sales and Leasing. Don't forget, folks, that down in the park now, there's a lot going on yet. There's still flea markets and craft fairs going on. Sand, and lots. This says Beaver Creek Graphics, Port Atkinson, Charlie and Kay's Velvet Acres in West Union. Another one that looks like it just came out of their showroom. Well, somebody has spent some real work on some of these new building beams.
I think that's loud enough that Mr. Holland's kid could have heard it.
I want to say thank you to Francis Bucco for a wonderful job of directing traffic up there. We had gotten a real hang-up for the streets cross. And
I'll leave you alone in the meantime. Okay. Okay. Wait a bit. Okay.
Is that some more parade coming back there, Francis, or is that just the fire department going home? Can you tell?
Well, we haven't
Well, it looks like that's it then for those of you that are here around the church. We thank you for coming and remind you again that there's lots to do downtown.
Art is?
Lots of places for
Oh.
grandpas and grandmas to rest.
Is this the end of the parade then?
This is it.
This is it? Well, I made it.